rehabilitated, and real entertaining. This is the Carl Jackson Podcast.
All right, welcome to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. For those of you guys that may have missed it, I want you to hear this testimony of special agent and whistleblower now Joseph Ziegler and his opening statement. It was absolutely phenomenal. This guy is not political at all. This guy has tons of credibility. No, he's not some right-wing hack. As a matter of fact, he's a Democrat, and he happens to be a gay Democrat. So I want you to hear this testimony because, I mean, it is bombshell type material. He lays the case out against Hunter Biden and, quite frankly, against what seems to me like a corrupt FBI and a lot of these attorneys that were involved in this Hunter Biden case. There's testimony later that I'm not going to play for you of Gary Shapley, but he had some great information to share as well. But I just wanted to play this video. I wanted you to get acquainted with this guy, this gentleman, Joseph Ziegler. Because his testimony, it was just a bombshell. Gary Shapley's testimony was a bombshell too, but this guy has a different level of credibility, given that he's a man of the left, but he's someone that believes in equal protection under the law. And also just equality under the law in general. Real quick, guys, MyPillow has a 20-year anniversary with over 80. They have now over 80 million MyPillows that have been sold. Mike Lindell at MyPillow, they want to thank each and every one of you by giving you the lowest price in history on their MyPillows. So now the queen size MyPillow is selling for only $19.98, marked down from $69.98. If you want a king size, it's $29.98. All you have to do is go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square at the top of the page and enter my name, Carl, C-A-R-L. Also, there's deep discounts on all MyPillow products right now, such as the bed sheets, the mattress toppers, pet beds, mattresses, my slippers, and so much more. So if you wanted to buy anything from MyPillow, now is the time to do it. Again, go to MyPillow.com, click on the radio podcast square at the top of the page and enter my name, Carl, or give them a call, 800-858-0263. All of these products come with a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you won't regret it. On top of that, you'll be helping out with American jobs and American manufacturing. MyPillow.com, promo code Carl. All right, now, here's the bombshell testimony of this gentleman, Joseph Ziegler, that honestly, this guy has his ducks in order. I remember going to court for different things in the past, and I was very notorious, just as my attorney was, or both of my attorneys were, in different instances of taking notes. This strikes me as that type of guy. He reminds me of my attorneys that were so detailed when it came to notations. This guy is extremely credible. This whistleblower, special agent, Joseph Ziegler. And by the way, there was an FBI that has corroborated both the testimony of Shapley and Ziegler, about all of this Hunter Biden stuff. So here it is that that there was interference that was run to basically scare them away from the case. So here's the testimony of Joseph Ziegler. Let's go ahead and roll it, Gabe, por favor. And by the way, we'll stop this every few minutes just for the sake of copyright infringement.
Thank you, Chairman Comer, Chairman Smith, Chairman Jordan, Ranking Member Raskin, and members of the committee. Today, I sit here before you not as a hero or a victim, but as a whistleblower compelled to disclose the truth. That said, in coming forward, I believe I'm risking my career, my reputation, and my casework outside of the investigation we are here to discuss. I ultimately made the decision to come forward after what I believe were multiple attempts at blowing the whistle at the Internal Revenue Service. No one should be above the law, regardless of your political affiliation. I humbly view my role here today as providing the facts as I best understood them, and to let Congress and the administration and the public consider those facts and determine the best path forward. I recognize why I was present at the start of this investigation and was closely involved with the investigation for roughly 5 years. I'm just a part of the story. Others, including my colleague and Supervisor Gary Shapley, who is here with me today, have their own views and understandings of what took place during this investigation. I've been an agent with the IRS since 2010. In 2007, I received my undergraduate degree from Ohio University, my MBA from John Carroll University. Prior to starting my career at the IRS, I worked at Ernst & Young as an external auditor. Throughout my career with the IRS, I have worked a variety of successful criminal tax and money laundering investigations. In 2018, I transitioned to being a part of the International Tax and Financial Crimes Group out of the Washington, D.C. field office. I was the lead IRS case agent on the Hunter Biden investigation. I've recently discovered that people are saying that I must be more credible because I'm a Democrat who happens to be married to a man. I'm no more credible than this man sitting next to me due to my sexual orientation or my political beliefs. The truth is, my credibility comes today from my job experience with the IRS and my intimate knowledge of the agency's standard and procedures. I was raised and have always strived to do what is right. Although I do have my supporters, others have said that I am a traitor to the Democratic Party and that I am causing more division in our society. I implore you to consider that if you were in my position with the facts as I have stated them, ask yourself if you would be doing the exact same thing. I hope that I am an example to other LGBTQ people out there who are questioning doing the right thing at the potential cost of themselves and others.
All right, so this guy is a traitor to his party. He's a traitor to his country for making sure that there's equal justice under the law, to make sure that we don't have a president that is using his son in order to enrich himself and his family. He's a traitor because of that. And he's not a traitor. This guy is a hero. You understand how courageous this guy has to be to come out and do what he's doing and testify before Congress? I mean, he stayed on the DL, I think, for as long as he could, but eventually he had to come forward. And now he's come forward. His testimony is strong. The guy's he's completely credible. He's a hero in my book. Let's go ahead and roll it, Gabe.
We should always do the right thing, no matter how painful the process might be. I kind of equate this to experience and feelings I encountered when coming out. It was honestly one of the hardest things I ever had to go through. I contemplated scenarios that would have been highly regrettable, but I did what is right, and I'm sitting here in front of you today. I would first like to take a minute to thank some people for their unfettered help and support. First off, God, for giving me the strength and courage to get through this process. My husband, who has been my rock, has put up with me, my stress, and has had to deal with his personal information being out there. My attorney, Dean Zerby, who has agreed to represent me through this matter pro bono, and someone who has provided me so much help and guidance. My colleagues from the Hunter Biden investigation. The work that was done on this case is tremendous, but seems to be overshadowed by what is happening here today. And I just want to say to the investigative team that I am thankful for having worked with you. I also want to thank my family and friends back home in Northeast Ohio and Georgia. I don't live in the DC area. I had to fly here and have had to pay out of pocket for all my travel-related expenses in being a whistleblower. On that note, I would like to make another statement that I have not accepted a single payment from anyone for being a whistleblower.
This guy has basically given his liberal bona fides, but also that he's a man of integrity when it comes to his work. And so now what he's going to do is outline the case and prove to you, I believe, that Hunter Biden should have been brought up on felony charges. And there's no way that Hunter Biden should receive the sweetheart plea deal that he's getting ready to likely receive, I think approximately a week from now or so. The judge has the opportunity to change that. I hope the judge does just that. All right, let's go ahead and roll it, Gabe.
First, Mr. Chairman, while I have my written statement as well as my testimony before the Ways and Means Committee, I would like to touch on briefly 7 specific matters. First, in a recent letter to Congress, Mr. Weiss stated that he had been granted ultimate authority over this matter, but then later stated in the same letter that his charging authority is geographically limited and that he would need a President Biden-appointed U.S. attorney to partner with him in charging the case. Mr. Weiss stated that he was making all decisions necessary to preserve the integrity of the prosecution consistent with federal law, the principles of federal prosecution, and departmental regulations. In the Criminal Tax Manual, Chapter 10, found on the DOJ website, tax division policy states that cases involving individuals who fail to file tax returns or pay a tax, but who also commit acts of evasion or obstruction, should be charged as felonies to avoid inequitable treatment. In early August of 2022, federal prosecutors from the Department of Justice Tax Division drafted a 99-page memorandum. In so, they were recommending for approval felony and misdemeanor charges for the 2017, 18, and 19 tax years. That did not happen here, and I am not sure why. And as the special agent on this case, I thought the felony charges were well supported. When considering the elements of felony tax case, under the criminal code, there are two key considerations: willfulness and tax due and owing. In the criminal context, willfulness is defined as voluntary, intentional violation of a known legal duty. The tax loss is the monetary loss to the government. In early 2020, Hunter Biden's unfiled and delinquent tax returns were being prepared, which included his 2018 tax return. During the 2020 time period, by Hunter Biden's own account, he was sober, newly married, and writing his memoir. Hunter Biden's accountants requested that he sign a representation letter stating that all the deductions were for business purposes and were being reported appropriately. Statements Hunter Biden made in his book completely contradicted what he was deducting as business deductions on his 2018 return. While writing his memoir, Hunter stated, "I holed up inside the chateau for the first 6 weeks and learned how to cook crack." Hunter Biden allegedly falsely claimed business deductions for payments made to the Chateau Marmont, a hotel room for his supposed drug dealer, sex club memberships, falsely referenced on the wire as a golf membership, hotels he was blacklisted from, and a Columbia University tuition payment for his adult daughter. All of these items were used to support the willfulness element for felony tax evasion. These false deductions claimed by Hunter Biden caused a false return to be prepared that underreported his total income by approximately $267,000 and a loss to the U.S. Treasury of $106,000.
Do you understand what you just heard? How detailed this man is? This man looked at Hunter Biden's tax returns and looked through his memoir. And was able to get a timeline to prove his case against Hunter Biden. This dude is thorough. This dude has credibility. Hunter Biden would have nothing to say if they could detail spending, when he received monies, and what he said he had or did not have, and look at his memoir and said, well, this is what you were saying at this point in time. You understand that? This dude is thorough. All right. I don't mean to be condescending, but I'm tripping off that because I remember being in court way back in the day. And I remember, thank God, by the grace of God, I got some great attorneys and they taught me a little bit on how to work hard and do research and be thorough when it came to note taking and questions that I even wanted to ask the other side. Right. And so when I hear this, I'm like, man, this guy is good. This guy is good. All right, let's go ahead and roll it again.
Second, with respect to the 2014 tax year, Hunter Biden did not report any of the money he earned from Burisma for the 2014 tax year, which would have been a tax loss to the government of $124,000. According to my previous testimony, Hunter Biden did not report this income to the IRS or pay tax on this source of income. There is nothing that I see in the public documents as to the Department of Justice's action against Hunter Biden that indicate that Hunter Biden will be required to pay tax on this Burisma income from 2014 or amend his 2014 tax return. I would like to note that the plea agreement, when released, may provide a greater understanding. Third, I would like to make clear that the charging document for the District of Delaware, Hunter Biden was charged with failure to timely pay his taxes for 2017 and 18 in excess of $100,000 for each tax year. On Hunter Biden's 2017 and 18 tax returns, Hunter reported taxes owed of approximately $581,000 and $620,000 respectively. This tax amount in 2018 would not have included the alleged additional tax due and owing from the filed false return of $106,000. Thus, as I read the public documents as the Department of Justice action against Hunter Biden, there is nothing that indicates Hunter Biden will be required to amend his false tax return for 2018. A false tax return that includes improper deductions for prostitutes, sex clubs, and his adult children's tuition. Again, perhaps when the plea agreement is released, it may provide us with a greater understanding. Fourth, the decision to bring felony counts against Hunter Biden was agreed to by both prosecutors and investigators. In the fall of 2021, I met with prosecutors assigned to the case, and we all agreed and decided which charges we are going to recommend in the prosecution report, which included felony counts related to 2014 and 18. In March of 2022, the prosecutors requested discovery from the investigative team and presented the case to the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office. In later meetings in early August of 2022, the assigned prosecutors, all 4 attorneys, agreed to recommend felony and misdemeanor charges for the 2017, 18, and 19 tax years, insofar as the Department of Justice Tax Division attorney sent an email about the process of bringing charges to include felony and misdemeanor tax charges in 2 separate districts, Delaware and Los Angeles. Less than a month later, Gary Shapley and I met with Mr. Weiss. He stated that he agreed with us regarding the 2014 and 2015 tax year misdemeanor and felony charges, but that this could somehow affect the later year misdemeanor and felony charges that he conveyed were stronger. Despite these facts, the plea deal that is being discussed occurred. To this day, I do not have a reason why that occurred. From my perspective, this might not have been problematic had the investigation been handled in the ordinary course. Fifth, as I had previously testified and is contained in my written testimony, I have outlined for you some instances in which assigned prosecutors did not appear to follow the normal investigative process, slow-walked the investigation, and put in place unnecessary approvals and roadblocks from effectively and efficiently investigating the case. A number of times we were not able to follow the facts. I am happy to respond to questions concerning these instances. Sixth, I will also note that while the impression has been conveyed by the U.S. Attorney in Delaware that he has similar powers to that of a special counsel in this case, free rein to do as needed.
So now he's getting ready to outline everything that prosecutors should have done but did not do, basically indicating that Hunter Biden got special treatment when it came to his case specifically. All right, let's roll again.
That was not the case. It appeared to me, based on what I experienced, that the U.S. Attorney in Delaware in our investigation was constantly hamstrung, limited, and marginalized by DOJ officials as well as other U.S. attorneys. I still think that a special counsel is necessary for this investigation to further handle ancillary investigations that are spun off and relate to Hunter Biden, but may not have venue in Delaware. Lastly, I would like to conclude again by encouraging Congress and the administration to consider establishing an official channel for federal investigators to pull the emergency cord and raise the issue of the appointment of a special counsel for consideration by senior officials. I do not want my colleagues at the IRS, FBI, and other federal law enforcement agencies to go through my frustrating journey and that of our team. I believe such a path will strengthen the public's confidence in their institutions and their fair and equal treatment of all Americans under the law. Thank you, and I look forward to the questions.
Thank you.
All right, that's Joseph Ziegler. I mean, he just outlined the case against Hunter Biden, threw Weiss, the U.S. attorney in Delaware, under the bus. I know that was a Trump appointee, but that guy had been around for decades under other administrations as well. And so it was obvious that he was bullied into, I guess at one point, saying that he had free reign after Merrick Garland came out and said he did in front of Congress. But Merrick Garland lied. It turns out Weiss lied because he didn't have free reign. This guy says he worked with Weiss directly, and Weiss reined him in. Weiss reined in their investigation, reined it in because the DOJ wanted him to. This guy just dropped some bombshells on the Biden administration. The Democrat Party is left with a choice. Do we roll with Biden in 2024, or do we use this to continue to throw him under the bus and get us a new guy? I guess we'll have to wait and see. Guys, I appreciate you tuning in to this edition of the Carl Jackson Show podcast. I thought it was important that I just shut up in this particular podcast and let you hear the testimony, if you had not already heard it, of Joseph Ziegler. He's even given interviews with Catherine Herridge, I believe, Catherine Herridge on CBS. There's clips of that out there. She asked very direct questions. He answers very specifically. There's one question that he does not answer, and that talks about, the money trail to the bid guy. And he just says he doesn't feel comfortable answering those questions because that's essentially where he was cut off. So you can find those videos out there as well. But again, guys, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you go to get your podcast: Apple, Google, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. We're on all of those places. If you go to YouTube and Rumble, please rate and review the podcast. Give us a 5. That'll help more people see us. Also, all things social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, True Social Getter, at The Carl Jackson Show is where you can find us. All right, guys, until next time, don't grow weary doing good. God bless you.